how to put English on the basketball.
Hello and welcome to episode 30 of With the Eagles podcast with myself as usual and Sam. Probably the last episode of the season, and this week we're going to wrap up the season, summarise the NBA finals, talk about all the coaches hiring and firings, including JJ Redick, covering the NBA draft, especially Bronny James, and all the trades, and especially free agency. Sam, how are we doing?
It's a lot to wrap up, isn't it? Since we last
There's a lot to
spoke.
wrap up. Yep, and we're doing this in the midst of England in the Euros, but we're talking basketball.
Yes, indeed.
So it's been 2 weeks since the NBA season finished, and the Celtics got their 18th banner. How are you feeling about it now?
I mean, upon reflection, we said all along, didn't we? I don't think there was any point in the season where we doubted that the Celtics were the best team in the NBA. And it was very clear. The moment they got Drew Holiday, I knew they were going to be a legit contender again. They got better defensively and they won. I just think it's very rare that the best team in this day and age go on and win it. Like I think Golden State obviously did. During the Lakers, Shaq and Kobe era and stuff, and maybe under Spurs, but there's been years when the best team hasn't necessarily always won it. Like, I thought the Celtics were one of the better teams the other years, didn't win it. So just have to accept it, don't we?
If I want to give them their props, they were the best team throughout the season and the postseason. I guess if I want to be bitter and take anything away from them, is that they probably got a bit lucky that Dallas came out of the West.
Matchup wise, I think you're probably right.
I think if it was Denver coming out of the West, we would have seen a different final.
Yeah, no, I would disagree on that. I think there's definitely matchups you look for. I mean, Tatum didn't have a great series and still, I would say it was rubbish or trash, as our American cousins would say, but he was just good. I mean, he offered more than Tobias Harris ever did for us.
I think that's what I mean is that Tatum didn't really have to go beyond good for the Celtics to easily win the finals. And don't get me wrong, that's partly because of how deep they were and a good team effort. And Jaylen Brown was deservedly the finals MVP. But I think everyone chipped in, and yes, as much as the criticism for Jason Tatum came in those finals, I think he didn't really need to step it up to Gear 4, Gear 5.
No, and I think the problem was the Celtics just had that depth that no one could really match. So no matter who they played, it was always going to be a tough series, whether it was a Denver or someone coming in. I think it would have been a tough series for whoever Celtics played. I'm just glad I got a chance to watch some baseball, watch my Phillies in the UK in between that time and some other and some other stuff, and be relieved that I never get to see Tobias Harris again in a Sixers jersey. But we had all the drama after. I mean, there was more drama in free agency and draft than there was in the finals because the Celtics just kind of took over.
I was going to say that when we last recorded, we weren't sure Tobias Harris was finally going to be out of the Sixers jersey, but that can be confirmed on that, and obviously we'll touch on that. But yes, the building to beat the Celtics starts now, and we started that last week with the NBA draft. What do you make of how the draft went?
I mean, I'm a bit worried because I can't pronounce half the names, but otherwise it's good.
A lot of French talent coming through. European, you mentioned, didn't you? There's a lot of European talent coming in this year.
Yeah, I mean, we called him Zachary, but
Yeah.
he was a guy that was, for weeks and weeks it was that this Rashir, I think that's how you say his name, was going to go number one. Very good athletic guy. Will be a good asset for the Hawks, especially if they do keep Trey. They're used to playing with a small backcourt with Murray and Trey, and maybe they're going to go a bit bigger now. The wing is obviously a really important position. If you don't have a good wing player, you're not going to be great. I do feel bad for him though, because I did see one comparison. I think it was technically the Ringer, so I don't know, who have a mixed relationship with the Sixers. Compared him to Harrison Barnes, which ain't too bad, but also Tobias Harris. But again, maybe early Harris, but certainly not later in the in his career, Harris. But if he gets paid like Harris, then he'd be all right with his dad supporting him. Then you had another French guy go number 2, who was playing in Australia, which is probably the best. You know, that and EuroLeague are probably the best 2 leagues outside of America. Then you got, you know, your usual. Then you had, you had that Reed Shepherd from Kentucky. You know, obviously got to see him a little bit, not for long, obviously, because he didn't do that great in March Madness. You know, but he looked like an okay player, an efficient player. But yeah, you know, again, but you look at it right now, and I mean, you may not have paid too much attention, but a lot of players are getting drafted now are from that were American, were older, so they're more like established players. You know, teams are trying to pick these guys up now that have done a couple of years in college, not just the one and dones.
Yeah, more NBA ready.
Yeah, and I think that's just proven. I know what's his name. I'm gonna have to Google it, but Detroit picked up someone from that G League Ignite. But otherwise,
I've got the list here.
who was it they picked up?
Ron
Detroit?
Holland.
Yeah. So again, it's kind of one of those things where, okay, he's come out of the program at number 5. That's a good pick. But for me, I just think you just got to do a couple of years, just do a year or 2 in college. I mean, the best player ever, Michael Jordan, spent a couple of years in college. You know, LeBron James and Kobe, obviously the exceptions to the rule, and Melo are elite players, but I wouldn't obviously put Melo with those 2. But you know, you've got to spend time or play a couple of years professionally in Europe, which is what the European players have done. You know, and then you look at the French guy that went to the Hornets, or played in France anyway. I don't know if he's actually French or not. I'm assuming a lot of these players they picked up from France were, but yeah. So
and now
it's
they've picked up the Villas. OKC picked up Topic. There's a lot of European talent out there.
yeah. And I think you've got to respect the fact that Europe is coming on the up, you know, the up and stuff. So, you know, really, you've got to look at it now and say there is more European talent coming into the league, and it's probably because they're playing at a decent standard at 17, 18, 19, and then being drafted at 19 to 20 years old. So when they enter the NBA, they're going to be probably 20 years old.
Well, even looking at, you know, obviously Luca coming in at his young age, but he'd already been a pro for a few years, so you know he was probably ready for the men's game. I think if you're going to pick a player that's only a year's college, then they better have a high ceiling, and that's exactly what the Lakers didn't do when we selected Bronny James, who probably played half a season, if that, in college before announcing he in the NBA draft. And there's no bit around the bush. We drafted him because his dad plays for the same franchise.
Yeah, I heard the only thing I'll say about that, and I'll get your opinion on it, is I didn't like the rumors coming out that he was telling teams to go and play in Australia if he got picked by
I
someone
think that
else.
was the Rich Paul tactic of trying to fend off any other suitors trying to pick him before that 55th slot.
Yeah, I just think there was players that went late first round, early second rounds that were established players that I would have preferred if I was a Laker fan to pick
Well,
from that perspective.
with
But
our 17th pick, I woke up to the news. I was quite underwhelmed, but I don't know why I was underwhelmed, because I haven't done my research behind the players in the draft, and we've picked up Dalton Connect
yes,
from Tennessee. He's done four or so years in college, probably ready to play some decent minutes in the NBA. Apparently, is still at 17 because he was sort of rumored and mock drafted to be in that lottery zone.
Well, we were looking at him, so there was I didn't really get a lot about Jared McCain from us. To be honest with you, we were linked with him, so we did a bit of sort of I don't know, bit of sort of assumption here in Philly that we would take an established older player and go for that. But yeah, I think it's good you did get that player, and you want players from that and from that sort of older sort of what do you call it, established college player. So you got that, and then you got a fresh young man out of school and 1
Yeah,
year
it's a
of
bit of a contrast there, wasn't it?
1 year of college where he didn't really do.
Probably
I
the
mean,
most unpredictable, also predictable 55th pick in a draft ever, to be honest. Running back to the number one pick for Atlanta, I kind of feel like there's a lot of rumors that they may have passed on Sarr because Sarr was refused to work out with Atlanta.
yes, again, this is all this age. I don't like it when these agents or these sort of things come in. These sort of rumors of oh, I'm not going to play for this team or that team. I mean, he was always going to go to a crap team. Now, I don't know, but I would assume that I don't want to say Atlanta's got, like, for the time being, the best show held there in inside the NBA. I would have thought Atlanta's a better city, and if you were going to be a bit anal with it, and I know he's French, but if he liked his time in Australia, maybe he likes the hot weather, I would assume he probably would have maybe wanted to go West Coast, but he was always going to get picked. The only chance he was going to go to the West Coast was if the Rockets picked him. So
Yeah, to make a point of not working out to then end up at Washington, that's a pretty bad
yeah,
tactic.
yeah,
Because no one
agreed.
wants to go to Washington.
No, and he
Washington,
should be.
in Toy Story with that kid who collects all those toys and messes them all up. That's what Washington
Sid.
was. That's it, Sid, yeah.
I only know
So
because
what
of my son.
the
Yeah.
Wizard players are all the toys that Sid collected, and they're just a bunch of misfits.
Well, this is the thing. I just don't get why we've seen so many agents come out and say things and do things. It happens every year. Every year there is a player says not going to work out or don't work out or says they don't want to go to this team. And I get it, right? Because we're used to that here in England where you can pick and choose where you really want to go, within reason, right? And you transfer, you can request a transfer,
Yeah.
and you can kind of choose, but it is different here. You know the terms and conditions when you sign up to it when you enter the NBA, and when you're not even an American, without being like sounding like like I'm an American or sort of borderline anti-European, because obviously we're not. You don't have a right to demand where you play to go into another country, in my opinion. That's kind of like and
And
I'm not trying to
it's
go.
the NBA. Why are you being like it's the NBA?
No, I agree, and I'm just
One pick that
surprised. Go on.
I was just to say one of the picks that did annoy me was actually deep into round two. The Clippers decided to troll us a little bit and pick Max Christie's younger brother. It would have been nice to have the two Christie brothers together. Not that we would have picked him anyway because
You're
I
always
like
going.
Bronny James. Was anyone in either round of that's sort of caught your eye or was surprised about?
Well, I must admit, I like a winning culture. So the one thing the Philadelphia Eagles have done, which is what my NFL team is. I'm glad. I was surprised that the. I mean, I knew the Spurs would do it, but I thought I thought if you were going to go anti-European, I thought that some of the Yukon guys would go higher. Now, obviously, it depends on fit and need and stuff like that. But Yukon has been a winning college for they've been one of the best teams in college basketball, play great standard of basketball. They're a team. They're not there's no selfish players. They're not the Kentuckys, the Duke type players. So yeah, I was surprised that Castle fell to the Spurs like Spurs. I thought the Spurs would take him because that's the sort of player that you would want in that organisation. A player that's played for a winning culture like that. And then obviously, what's his name? Donovan Klingon went to went to the Trailblazers. So yeah, I was surprised. I'm glad to see two players getting taken from a college that have obviously got noticed the last couple of years. So I suppose that's for me probably the one.
You've got to say with where Portland and San Antonio are at the moment, to get some decent minutes in their rookie years. I'll be also looking out for Zach Edey at Memphis next season, see how he gets on there. There was a bit of controversy because apparently that Kyle Filipowski was heavily rumoured to be out in round 1, but he had to wait until round 2. Rumours are he didn't interview well with a few franchises. Bit of a unusual personal life, so apparently that could have factored into what was going on. I think his girlfriend was like 27, I heard, and like they've been together for like 3 or 4 years. So obviously he would have been very young.
Yeah,
quite a bit older, and might have seen his potential to reach the NBA. The last player I want to touch on is your second round Sixers pick. Did it give you a boner?
I don't like these poor jokes.
What's his name?
Yeah, everyone can make funny jokes out of people's names. But yeah, no, he didn't get me excited. So yeah, there you go. If you want to make a joke
Just to
out of it.
clarify, the Sixers picked Adem Boner, which is going to be a great name for the commentary.
Indeed. I mean, I don't know a lot about him, but he didn't get me excited. I was
I'm
hoping
sure the inside the NBA are going to have a lot of fun with that in their last
goodbye year. Well, I don't know how much minutes he's going to get and stuff like that, so it'd be interesting to see. But yeah, I think there's always going to be a surprise player that comes out of the draft. It'd be interesting to see who it is. Like I say, I think people might regret taking the UConn. I think the UConn guys, even though they still went in the top 10, I think there's a potential for one of them two to have a solid, first year or two in the league.
Yeah. So another way to try and defeat the Celtics, to make sure they don't go back to back, is free agency, and as usual, it went wild.
Yes, it did. How mental has this last 48 hours been?
Yeah, I don't really know where to start. Obviously, before free agency began, we had the Josh Giddey trade with Alex Caruso, and we had the Mikal Bridges over to the Knicks to join his buddies and over buddies. And
Such
then
an overpay.
literally just as free agency began, DeJounte Murray became a Pelican. And that's before all the free agents even started. Where do we start? Where do we begin?
Well, I think the Giddey trade, I was a bit gutted by that. I mean, he's a good player, but I would have liked for us to get Caruso, or Alma Fudd. But we obviously inquired about him and Drummond, and we touched on it a bit. We got Drummond, but yeah, I was a little bit surprised by that. Obviously, getting a vet defender in, Giddey obviously with his issues. I think Giddey probably sounded outright as right for both teams. So I think I'm just gutted from a personal perspective that my team weren't involved in that trade, and probably couldn't offer much. Giddey's is a good young talent. If the off the court stuff has been squashed now, and it wasn't as true as
OKC released the Bulls to get none of their 900 picks.
Yes, agreed. The Bulls were stupid for not asking for more. So yeah, the Bulls let themselves down there. The Sea Red guys probably aren't going to be too happy with that. Haven't really been on social looking at other stuff other than just obviously a lot of baseball. As you can see, I've got my wrong way baseball stuff up. So yeah,
semi excited for the potential of Giddey, but probably underwhelmed by where he's going to fit exactly, and the fact that they got no picks in return. So. And they lose Caruso, obviously, which, I all know firsthand what it's like to lose Caruso. And much like yourself, waking up to that news, I was pretty annoyed that my team couldn't put anything Liverpool's way. But we probably would have got hit by lake attacks and
That sorry, my internet just cut out then, but yeah, that's true. Lakers tax probably would have come into play.
the real thing.
I want to talk about Bridges though. I'm going to be very controversial here. Skip Bayless, like I don't think the Knicks are going to be as good as people think they are. I think they have overpaid for Bridges. Great player. Now I'm a little bit biased with Bridges because obviously he's from Philly. Very good friends. Sorry, his cousin is very good friends and works with a friend of mine, Anthony Gargano on PHYL network, All City network. And so there's a bit of bias because I get hear his cousin Devon on TV, on YouTube TV, whatever you want to call it, a lot, and a bit bigged up. Heard his dad speak. Bit disappointed his dad's a Boston Celtics fan, but so yeah, weren't happy with that. But I heard a lot about him, so I heard how good he was, and obviously I saw how good he was after the trade, and he was ours, and we moved on for him. But I think 4 first-round picks unprotected, and then a protected one. I just think that's far too much. Just for me, it's far too much. And the role player, like
a Gobert situation, overpaid.
yeah, but that's what I said. If you said to me 2 years ago, like, what would you take for Embiid? I remember Embiid saying it right. Like he said, if Golden State offered Steph Curry and 2 first-round picks, you would trade me. I get it. He said that, like he was like, look, everyone's tradable in this league. And I was like, yeah, you're right. You're probably right. If someone offered me an all-star and a couple of first-round picks, I'd do it. And I'd probably get to the point where I'd say 3 or 4 first-round picks unprotected. But for a non-all-star, like legit all-star, like Bridges will make it, Bridges will be one of these players that makes, one every other year or maybe gets in, as a reserve. But as a
Do you not think that's the next knowing that they would have really wanted Macau for his, brotherhood with his Nova pals.
potentially.
I just think they've gone in heavy with it because they want to combat the Celtics in particular, obviously who are a very strong team on the wing, and now they've got Randall, Bridges, Hart,
Hart's gone.
OG. Has he gone?
Yeah, that's what I mean. They couldn't pay everyone. Losing Hart.
Well, I knew it could be everyone because I knew the result of that was Hartenstein obviously going because they paid OG with a 5-year deal.
Yeah.
When did that happen? Hart.
Wow, I saw a rumor, so I might be wrong.
We're going on rumours. Well, nothing's official, so I think
yeah,
they can pay Hart. It was between OG and Hartenstein that they had to decide whether they were going to pay or not.
yeah, I'll double check that, but I think Josh Hart is apparently going. So
And obviously Hartenstein's got himself a bit of a pay rise going to OKC.
yeah. Yeah, I think they probably had him over the barrel. I'm just checking here. Josh Hart cheekily jabs Isaiah Hartenstein over Nick's exit. Oh, okay. Maybe he's staying then. I thought I saw something about him potentially leaving, but yeah, it's a rumor. Nothing confirmed yet. But they're going to pay
Obviously,
him.
there's a lot of things that have happened, but just to gloss over a few of the things that point out to me, KCP going to the Magic. I think
Yeah.
it's a bit of a perfect pickup for them, given they've needed a bit more shooting and experience. Championship winner in the 2 in the last 3 or 4 years. So that's a great pickup.
Yeah, and I know. I just want to say, I know our guys on Next Talk Magic. They love their faulty and that as well. Especially Durant, but I think he's a massive upgrade. So he'll be.
Oh yeah, massively, probably massively an upgrade on Fultz and Gary Harris, to be honest. So
Yeah.
good pickup there. Big surprise pickup for me was Denny Abdia going to Portland Trailblazers. Didn't see that coming from Washington.
No. There's been some ones I didn't expect at all. I mean, we said Hartside as well. That was another one. But obviously, there was always going to be a player that didn't stay with New York after their pickups.
So it was rumored that LeBron James was he's opted out. He's obviously due to re-sign. He wouldn't he wouldn't get the Lakers to draft Bronny and then go elsewhere, obviously. But there was rumours he was going to take a pay cut for certain players to come in, and one of those was Jonas Valanciunas, who has now gone to the Wizards on a 3-year deal. One of them was also Clay Thompson, who's now just rumored to go to the Dallas Mavericks. And I think the other player, I can't remember who it was now.
I mean, we can pretend Paul George didn't move, but
That was it, James Harden, who's obviously re-signed for the Clippers. So there's rumours still that DeMar DeRozan could be one of those players, but I think for now to take that max.
yeah, James Harden got paid. And do you know what the ironic thing is? He got paid the same amount we were roughly going to pay him anyway. So Morey maybe wasn't a liar after all.
Maybe so. Obviously, Tobias Harris, it is confirmed. Sam, you don't have to sweat anymore. He has gone to Detroit Pistons in a 2-year 52 million.
Mate. So my thought on this, Detroit's got the cap space for it, so fine. He's a good leader.
Yeah.
He's a good leader in the sense of like during the COVID when you got to see Matisse Bible did a great like vlogs and stuff, and during that time you saw Harris as a great leader. I don't know what happened, but his confidence and stuff seemed to shoot down afterwards. And I thought highly of him during the COVID year. I thought, do you know what, he's going to be good after that. And he had a year or two good on the dock, to be fair. But he's not worth that. Yeah, I mean, he's just his dad's. I need to hire his dad to get me my next work contract.
Yeah, we could all do with Tobias Harris dad in our corner, couldn't we?
Mental. But yeah.
To give some more bad news, where the Boston Celtics might dominate for a bit longer, Derek White agrees to a 4-year extension. So that's, big piece there in Boston that's going to stay with them. But the biggest free agency move, I think happens with your Philadelphia Sixers. Paul George has joined the Sixers.
I did say just a minute ago, I thought you were trying to ignore that. No, it was a big move. I wasn't sure on it, to be honest, and I'm still not. Like I said to you, and I've said previously to anyone that's asked me, the Paul George move is a great move on NBA 2K or anywhere like that because he fits perfectly, all that stuff. The problem we've got is you need to stay healthy. Now, a healthy Embiid, we would have got past New York last year, but he wasn't healthy. A healthy Embiid, we would have got further in some other planet series. He hasn't been healthy. Oh dear, nearly sneezed. And now it's going to be the same with Paul George. So, oh, my hay fever's playing up today. So, yeah, Paul George. Embiid doesn't stay healthy. Paul George doesn't stay healthy.
Do you not find it that you started sneezing when we started talking about Paul George?
That's probably what it is. Yeah, I'm just like allergic to the fact that we got another. Yeah, allergic to another injury-prone player. But no, if he plays every game that he can, and I'm thinking in the 50s there, and then be healthy for the playoffs, I think that'd be fine. And Embiid's was a freak injury. Paul George played a lot of games last year. His injury, obviously, I'll never forget it in the scrimmage game for USA when he was playing for the Pacers was a freak one. And he's done really well to come back from that. He was one of my favourite players back then. I used to always pick him up on NBA 2K, like, 12, 11, whatever. I just think, yeah, it's the way that he is now. He signs superstars, even if they're 32, 33, 34, and pay him for 3 or 4 years. Miami have got that with Butler. We're going to have that with Paul George now. We're going to be paying him, 40 odd million a year. Yeah, what was it, 48, 50 million a year when he's 38. The good thing is it's only 4 years and not 5. So that's the good thing. But yeah, it was good pick-up. Best player that was available, realistically. Obviously, there was, there was rumours of that we met with that Nick Nurse and LeBron met in Philly somewhere. And there was talk of that, but obviously LeBron does that. Has done that with us before, so yeah.
The greatest. What you've done is end the greatest Clipper era, which they only think went past the second round once in that whole time.
Well, and I think the new arena. I'm surprised he moved from his hometown, LA. To be honest with you, the new arena, everything. Me and you've picked that up and said it looks like one of the best arenas.
Like I said earlier in our chat, I think he ran from the West. Didn't want that challenge anymore.
But I think the East is really stacked now from one to, man, the odd team out for me,
I will say, I'll give you its due. It is balancing a bit more in the last few days.
yeah, and I think teams are feeling themselves now because they got lucky that we got injured. We, like I say, if Embiid and Maxey didn't miss all those games, we would have finished in the play-in. And if the Bucks didn't get their injuries, they wouldn't have finished as low as they did. So the Cavs are fancying themselves and so imagine, but the Cavs aren't making much move, and
They've
I
done
think they're
nothing so far, I don't think. Absolutely nothing.
no, apart from trying to extend Donovan Mitchell, and I just think they're going to be the odd ones out. I think so far this free agency and trade deadline, I think the Knicks have obviously won. But like I said, I'm going to be controversial here and say I don't think they're going to sustain the success. I think I just really think it's cheeky to come from me, and I get it. People bring up stats and say Embiid still took more free throws, but a big man's meant to take more big free throws than a shooting guard or a point guard because he's down in the post and the player's going to have his hands trying to smash at the other player. The Brunson is such an annoying player to watch, and I think if the refs don't give in to his foul baiting as much, the falling in intentionally and stuff like that, he loses a bit of credibility. If he could do what he did in the playoffs all season and do it again next year, then fair play. They've got a team to worry about. But for me, they've got no depth after 7-8 if they can't sign players to replace the ones they're going to potentially lose, and if they do lose Hart, they're in big trouble. But they have won so far based on what they've got so far, but we'll see how that plays out. They definitely have been the strongest team out of both conferences, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Who do you think?
I
Who do
mean,
you think? Who do you think so far? Do you agree or do you disagree?
I kind of agree. Although I'm not too sure. Even with Adam Cal Bridges, I'm not too sure where that's going to take the Knicks. Obviously, Tibbs lots of running players into the ground, so regardless of who the personnel is, they're going to be pretty knackered or probably hurt come the postseason. But I think OKC
Yeah, it's a good shout.
probably the best in the trade so far and free agency. Well, you're adding Caruso in your backcourt. I mean, great point of attack defender. Doesn't need to do much on the box score to have a great game. They've got some cover now, or possibly a start in number 5 in Hartenstein, and maybe move Chet to the 4. But they've got some reinforced size there, and he's had a great season at the Knicks. They've just re-signed Isaiah Joe, who had a great season,
Yeah,
basically come behind Mark last year. And also Aaron Wiggins has returned on a 5-year deal, and he was a key piece in that sort of 10-man lineup. So I think quietly the OKC, they just come off the top being the top seed, and they added well. So who knows? Could be a legit contender in the West. I'm not
yeah.
sure.
Well, that's a good shout. I don't disagree that they've definitely had a good off season as well. So, yeah,
So,
OKC.
aside from player acquisitions and trades and free agency and all that, there's also been a few changes in the coaching side of things. Charles Lee is now the coach of Charlotte Hornets. There's probably no one reporting that now it's happened because. And have the Cavs appointed their coach? Or is it still James Borrego, highly rumoured to take the hot seat?
Not seen that to be honest because of all the what you call it, the free agency stuff and trade stuff going on.
But I guess when it comes to coaches, and I'm going to stop being around the bush. The big um, coaching change was
Bigger staff
one
going to
Lakers.
Pistons. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, yeah. Well, Monty Williams getting paid for 6 years to do nothing. That's a big. But no, we've appointed JJ Redick, ESPN analyst and podcaster, friend of LeBron James. Not only have we drafted his son, we've also decided to give his best mate, one of his best mates, the coaching job for one of the biggest franchises in the league and a first-time head coach. Is this going to be
yes.
another stupid decision by Pelinka, or is it a brave genius idea?
Do you know what? players play for people that they like, and I've been learning about this on my own coaching journey when I've been doing some football coaching and stuff. And players will play for
You
people
doing
they
football
like.
coaching? Because you never mentioned it before.
I know it's something I like to mention a lot. I still haven't got my certificate yet, which is annoying. So FA, sort it out. Not that they listen to this podcast, but
Sure.
yeah, the the players play for for the coach, and that's why someone like Doc Rivers does really well in getting job after job, because players want to play for him, and they will bust through doors, and probably Tibbs as well. But it's true to be seen whether he's going to be an X's O's coach, because we've got no purpose of that, and his analysis has been quite good, in all fairness, on podcasts. So my independent thing is, I heard he was a good leader, and I know he's respected. So he's got the dressing room, the locker room, whatever you want to call it. So he's already got one step in, and he's an ex-pro that's done really well in the league.
Yeah.
So that's going for him, and he's friends with LeBron, so he knows LeBron's on
Steve Kerr did it. Steve Kerr went from the commentary box to head coach of the Warriors.
I was going to say, yeah, I couldn't believe it when they got rid of Jackson and got Kerr. I remember that being, I remember going, wow, like, what is going on here? Like, because I enjoyed Steve. I was like, I enjoyed Steve Kerr on the commentary. That was a big move back then, and it worked. So, yeah, it's a copycat league. You could do that. Why not? Why not? Why not do it? But I would
think
have
he put it
thought.
well in his press conference. He may not have NBA coaching experience, but he has plenty of NBA experience. And not all experience is necessarily good experience. Darvin Ham has had 2 years NBA coaching experience, and I can tell you for sure he learned nothing in those 2 years.
You are really against it. Well, he's gone now, so you can forget. It's like me with Harris, you with
And
Ham.
I said he wouldn't get a head coaching role following his sacking, and he's back being an assistant. So, and where he came from. So, good luck to him being a cheerleader, motivational speaker with the Bucks. But yeah, it's very left field, and it could go to shit, and we'll look stupid, and LeBron looks stupid, or it's going to be a stroke of genius, and Redick's going to be with the Lakers for 10 years.
Exactly. And apologies, I went off camera there just to help, because my internet keeps playing up here. I think there's always that. It is going to be. It's all or nothing. It is literally all or nothing with that hire. Other hires, like with us with Nurse, it's like, well, we're going to roll the dice with him. We tried it with Rivers. We keep trying to roll the dice with what we would have thought established coaches, and it hasn't necessarily worked yet. Obviously, it's too early to say with Nurse, but yeah, I think there's definitely a roll the dice situation, and we'll see what goes on. And you could have the last laugh this time next year. You could be, Western Conference champs or NBA champs.
Banner 18.
I mean,
and in season tournament back to back.
I was going to say there's more likely for that, yeah. But you've got the potential with the players that you've got, and if you've got the motivator, people. I think if you're right, because you obviously got sort of Lakers more than me, it looked like the Darvin Ham stuff, and there was rumors and stuff constantly all year. Like, that doesn't help thinking that I could be losing my job, things like that. And like I said to you earlier, I couldn't believe the England game, and talking about England, like Gareth Southgate was literally seconds away from being like sacked from his England after doing a great job, and then Bellingham pulls a rabbit out of the hat and absolutely saves the day.
Yeah.
And that's what can happen in coaching. Southgate did a great job a few years before that. I know Darvin Ham didn't, but it can happen like that. Look at the Bucks; they've done it. And you weren't a big fan of Frank, but you obviously moved on for him quite quickly after championship. Teams do it. Teams do it. So even if you are a successful coach,
over Darwin Ham any day.
But that's it, though. You don't know. Bar Pop, who's been with their team for more than 5, 6, 7 years. I can't think of a coach that stayed with a team for that prolonged period. Like that, the
NBA probably becoming very similar to football, isn't it? And it's the coach goes before the players do. You look at Cal sacking, JB, like he's done great for them, stabilising them since LeBron days. So big shot that he went. But yeah, we look forward to the new season coming a few months in October. Sam, it's obviously, like I said, last episode of the year, so I'll give you a full 5 X's and O's to finish on.
Okay.
Which will cover, what we just previously spoken about. So it'll be nice and easy. So Sam, adding Caruso and Hartenstein with the OKC makes them a legit contender in the West.
I think we touched on that earlier, and you'll know that I agree with that statement. Yeah, definitely a no on that one. I think they will.
Legit contender, yeah.
Yeah, they'll be top. Anyone that finishes top 3 in their conference is a legit contender, and I think they finished top 3 right now. Oh, I have to stop my camera again. Sorry, I missed that.
I was just saying that it just makes the West even harder.
It does. It does.
Look forward to that. With Klay Thompson obviously leaving the Warriors, their dynasty is clearly in the rearview mirror.
At this time, I agree.
I think it goes without saying, given the trio are going to be split up now, aren't they? Draymond Green, Steph, with no more Clay. I think we really submitted that when we beat him in the semis 2 years ago. But when you're letting a player go with so many years on his belt, then it's finally over, right?
I think so. I mean, unless there's some sort of mad, unless they do a Bellingham, and pull rabbit out of the hat and make some trades or some moves. At this moment in time, it's not looking good for them.
No, hopefully they won't be a playing team or playoff team at all next year. This would be a bit of a thinker, I think. Jalen Brunson is more of a player GM than LeBron by making the franchise get all his buddies from Nova in.
Do you know what? I'm so glad I switched alliance from liking Villanova to Penn State, because it's all the posh New York kids that support it anyway. So, no, it's not a Brunson thing. The whole New York thing. It's kind of it's just happened. I think that the thing is with the New York link to Nova is the fact that Philadelphia and New York so close. Nova is a school full of New York students and Philadelphia students, but primarily from the suburbs of Philadelphia and a lot of New York kids. So I think that there's people in the back office in New York, without knowing too much detail, that are probably Nova fans. So I wouldn't say he drives that. So I'm going to say X on that.
Yeah, I think it's a big X given that LeBron has peaked as a player GM. The allegations are never going, and then you draft guy's son and you hire his friend. I think nothing will top that. And you know what? He'll probably stay for another 3 years, and then we'll draft Bryce to add to the team as well when he have both his sons. Hey, why not give Savannah a job?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Next, closer to home for you, Sam. Acquiring Paul George will make the Sixers a legit contender in the East and even take them past the semi-finals.
So, yeah, we've got to go off of the pure of what's happened so far and that you think people are going to be healthy.
Caveats coming out.
So, yeah, it's got
caveat.
It's so if I'm putting my head on my head on and going off the factual information that we've got of the players that they have right now and their availability over the last few years, it's probably going to be an X. That it doesn't guarantee it. But if Paul George can be healthy and MB can be healthy, then it's obviously a no. There's not a team that can beat the Sixers in the Eastern Conference in the starting 5 bar Boston with the acquisition that they've made. The problem is the health. It's the same with the Lakers, with LeBron. If LeBron can still be a freak,
probably every team, isn't it? To be honest.
No. I'm saying like there's teams that players aren't like the Clippers. If Kawhi and that can stay healthy, Lakers. If LeBron can still be a freak at 40 years old, then there's little factors here and there. But it seems to be that the Boston Celtic have the best medical staff and seem because like I just don't ever remember Tatum and Brown being out for prolonged periods. So
yeah, I'm very good. about that. So let's finish on our last section though.
Yeah.
With the two guys that are in the news every day at the moment. LeBron and Bronny will share the court together in a regular season game.
Yes, I think worst case scenario, there'll be a sentimental thing towards the end of the season.
I'm actually going to say X.
No, there'll be a moment where he spends. There'll be a moment.
I don't think he's good enough to get into the team and he'll be in the G League. I think to get everyone to shut up about it, they'll play in a pre-season game and then everyone can be quiet. It's done, it's happened, and Bronny can go off into the G. Yeah. The only way I think it's going to happen in a regular season game is if we have a good start and a good middle and we're well above 500, we're doing well in the seedings, and we can have a bit of an off night and Bronny can play some garbage minutes.
That's what I mean. I can see that happening. And to be fair, the preseason's a good shout because that will mean you can sell like $50 tickets rather than the
That's
5,
why I
10, 50.
stipulated regular season game because I just don't think. I mean, I hope Bronny's not in, the roster for the regular season. If I'm honest, he needs to play some games.
He does. He does. He clearly, showed by his lack of college games that he's not ready. So, but his daddy is LeBron James. So,
Yeah, why not just maximize the nepotism and just have him start for the Lakers?
exactly. No, I think they'll share a moment on the court. There'll be some sentimental thing. But you're right. He'll probably start off exactly how he should and in the right manner in the G League and then work his way into the team at some point. And I can see that happening. I think it depends on what the Lakers do in the next few days. The West has got a little bit like you say, a bit more spread out with some of the stuff that's happened with Golden State now pretty much looking out. OKC looking a bit stronger. Denver haven't really done too much, but did they really need to? So it's interesting. There's definitely ways for you guys to move up. I think the East is the biggest where most of the moves are happening right now. So the West need to do some big moves, and we'll see how that happens over the next.
Yes, we see how it all pans out come October. For now,
And we'll get Summer League. LeBron,
this basketball isn't exactly over. The summer league is coming, so it'd be good to showcase some of the picks, and obviously Bronny playing that. So
I will add this: LeBron is at the Summer League most years. In all fairness, so he's not like
he is. He'll definitely be watching this year, I think, before he heads over to and fly out with Team USA, and then we've also got the Olympics, which will be quite interesting to watch. I think there's going to be some nice matchups, and I like to see USA versus France. And we can see obviously Embiid try and win something, although he's probably the Harry Kane of the NBA. He's probably cursed Team USA now because he cheated his way to trying to win something. Anyway, but yeah.
Do you know what? No, I was against that, and I was, I've always been against the NBA thing. And then when someone actually broke it down to me, he's actually lived in the USA longer than he lived in France or Cameroon.
He's from Cameroon.
Yeah, but he was from Cameroon, lived in France for a bit, and then moved to America when he was like 14.
Wait, to be honest, I shouldn't be mad at it because obviously I'm a big cricket fan, and half of our team, are not English. So
no, that's what I mean. Here, it's like 5 years for cricket and football, isn't it, before they can play. But barely
even that. I don't know how long Jofra Archer was playing over here, but he was selected
15 years, nearly 15 years before he made his citizen. Well, it was 12 years, I think, when he made his citizenship. He made the agreement to join Team USA. So it'd be 13 years this summer that he's been over in America for. 14 years, 13, 14 years.
Oh, good luck to him.
Yeah,
good luck to American Joel Embiid.
And his son's American, so
his son is American. So his son can play.
Yeah, no, I'm on the fence with it. I've always said that, but when someone put it down, he actually spent more time in America than he has. I'm like, that's fair. That is fair. So, it is what it is.
Right, Sam. It's been a long old season.
It has.
And now our focus turns to England in the Euros, having a rest in the summer.
Yes, yes, and I know you're going to Team USA game. Sorry, I'm in that again. Team USA game. So I'm sure we'll try and
Yeah,
do a
go.
pod
Yeah,
just
we've
after
got,
that,
yeah, looking
or
forward to
just
that.
before. We'll try and do one. We'll try and do one or two over the summer. I think a summer league one will be good, and a USA one. You can share some thoughts on the exposition games that you're going to. I'm not going to because I went to watch the Phillies in London, which was expensive enough as it is, and I
Yeah,
think
I'll
the
bet.
tickets are still 200 and something quid for the basketball. So definitely not something I'm going to go to.
Mm. So
Anyway,
Sam, do you want to see Sam?
I will indeed. So thanks everyone for watching or listening. Please like, subscribe, or follow on any social media content that we have. And we are available on multiple social platforms. Our favourite being X/Twitter, and our handle is what, Glenn?
The English one,
And why is it with the one? Why is it one, Glenn?
because we're the only one called the English.
How to put English on the basketball.